many of you will have long wheelbase vans and get to a point with your van build where you think, I might be overweight. This is because with a long wheelbase van, up to 3.5 ton, you have kind of less room to maneuver. So your van, which they weigh as driver plus how it's come out of the factory, you'll have a bit more to work with if you've got a medium wheelbase, whereas if you've got a long wheelbase, because the actual vehicle is heavier, you'll have less to work with. Now, mine's a 4x4 automatic, high roof, which means I've got even less. So I'm just going to take you very quickly through the journey that I've taken to just help, because I think there's a lot of confusion around vehicle weights and what you need to do. So I got in touch with an engineering company who do the uprating of the vehicles, and I filled in a very simple form that they've got. And with that, what they first need to do is look at your weight on your wheels and your tyres, and make sure your wheels and tyres are up to a certain point to increase the weight. So in this instance, I'm looking to increase the weight to 3.9 from 3.5. They will look at your wheels and tyres, your suspension, and other things on the vehicle to make sure that you can uprate that vehicle without making any modifications to the van, and for it to be basically a paperwork exercise. And when I say paperwork exercise, those people as engineers need to approve that and take you through that process. So it's not something you can do on your own, because I was hoping I could just fill a form in and that's the way you go. So that's not the case. Now, my vehicle, if you've watched some of my content, is a MAN TGE, aka Crafter, and actually it has an upgrade on the vehicle. It's got 2.1 ton capacity on the front axle and 2.1 ton on the rear axle. Some are 1.8 on the front and less on the back and all the rest of it, but mine's 2.1 on the front and 2.1 on the back. Now, as someone with grandfather rights, I can legally drive up to 7.5 ton. My vehicle is manufactured to take the weight of up to 4.2 ton, but the vehicle is registered N1, which is just as a van, and it is only registered as a 3.5 ton. So I have to therefore change and get it up registered to another weight. So the first thing you do is you do some calculations. And again, just backtracking, I've done a couple of videos with a customer of mine who bought a Clayton unit, who is doing a lightweight build on his vehicle because he needs to hit the 3.5 ton. He can only do 3.5 ton on his license. And we're filming another video on how that's all going to go, which may or not come out before or after this. And as part of that process, I went to the Weighbridge and weighed our van, and it came out at 3,640. So it was 140 kilograms overweight. I was shocked. And since then, what I first did is remove tools. I had 2 huge toolboxes. There was loads of other stuff stored in the van, so I just cleared the van out. When we were weighed, it was a wet weight, so we had gas, water, fuel on board, and there was other things like spare wheel underneath when I've already got a spare wheel on the back, yada yada yada. There was a few things. So that's the kind of process that I've gone through. Now, when I inquired about uprating, I didn't realise that what you first need to do is to change it to a motor caravan. And the reason that makes sense is that you apply to make it as a motor caravan, and then if you get knocked back, you will get van with windows, and if you get van with windows, that then prevents you from needing to have things like tachograph, speed limiter. There's a number of other things that would affect you and make the ownership of the vehicle less practical when you're trying to up weight. So I am going through the process of applying for it as a motor caravan, and with that there's a bit to do. So I'll kind of talk through that, but before I do that, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of the calculation I made on weight. My van weight with a driver is 2,506 kilograms, which would then leave me 994 kilograms as a van. Straight away, Katie, 50 kilograms. Donnie is about 47. Loki 28, Nova 18, Wallace about 17, which is about 188 kilograms. We've just bought e-bikes, so those two bikes together is around 52 kilograms. Looking at things like luggage, food, that kind of thing, making an allowance of 30 kilograms. Our fuel tank is 75 litres, that's 75 kilograms. Water, we have an 80 litre fresh water and 10 litres in the Truma boiler, which is 90 litres, which is 90 kilograms. And then we also have a lightweight gas bottle, but then that holds 10 kilograms of 19.5 litres of fuel, which is 10 kilograms in terms of gas. So adding that together, excluding the weight of the gas bottle, is 175. So straight away, I've gone from 994 and then actually gone down to 415. Then I'm thinking, right, well, I need to start looking at that and thinking, well, what do all my cabinets weigh and everything? So I then started looking and just scribbling. The idea was to start this with a spreadsheet, but I kind of went at it with like vigor and was like, oh, this is starting to get to me. So I have a ply lined with LVT floor, working out the square meterage. That ply with the LVT floor, which is brilliant, by the way. We've got it in our house, we've got it in our other vans. It's very hard wearing and it's easy to replace because it's parquet style. You can replace this. 60 kilograms. The ceiling, I went a bit zealous and installed an solid oak ceiling, which was flooring. And the idea with that was it would give me a structural ceiling, but working that out was 67 kilograms. Windows, around 12 kilograms. Electrics, around 28.5, but I actually want to put an additional Clayton add-on battery in my van. Boiler, 15 kilograms. I've got a Truma 6E. Shower, I made myself. It's kind of like a wet room. It's unusual style. We've done it that way so that it preserves room in the galley. I've done videos on that, and we've got magnetic clips. Shower works brilliantly. But again, looking at the high pressure laminate that we got from Evo Motion Design, and so there's no structure in our shower. It's just kind of screwed to the bottom and glued, screwed to the top and glued, screwed all down the back and glued. We lined that with Click LVT, which was all sealed, and adding all that together was 47 kilograms for the shower. Fridge oven hob, 48 kilograms. Cabinets, this is all my Evo kit, which again, I'll try and do a full sort of breakdown, but we've got cable cover, 6 kilograms over cab, 27 kilograms, so that's the one that comes out over the cab. Garage, the two units either side, 90 kilograms. Kitchen pod, 66 kilograms. Sink and top, around 10. Over sofa locker, which is 180 centimeters long, 30 kilograms. Bed and mattress, so I've got the IKEA struts with the timber slats. The bed was 14 kilograms. The mattress, we went with, again, an IKEA like proper sprung mattress, was 46. And then we've got the tall 90 litre Thetford fridge locker, which is the locker that goes with it, with the cupboards top and bottom, 45 kilograms. So that was 334 kilograms just for all my cabinets, what have you. So going back to it and adding in things like table and chairs, sofa. Again, we just bought a click-clack sofa, which has been great. It was temporary, but it's actually worked out really, really well. The idea was to put that on sliding runners, heavyweight runners, so we could pull that and use it as a bed. So the sofa and the board underneath was 50 kilograms. Rear wheel carrier, so looking at the weight of the tyre, the alloy wheel, the wheel carrier itself and everything comes in around 33 kilograms. Then I've got things like toilet, depends how much weight and how big a dump I've had in it, but that can drastically change the weight. But the toilet itself, 78 kilograms. So then looking at all the externals, we've got increased off-road tyre, so there'll be a bit of an increased weight there. Alloys kind of bring that down from steels or whatever, but I think there was like alloys on our van anyway from the start. I can't remember now. Nudge bar at the front, tow bar. We've got roof panels, solar panels. We've got roof runners on ours. Things you put in it, mirrors, kettles, coffee machine. It adds up. Taking all that into consideration, there was another 5 1.79, which eventually took us to basically 159 kilograms over. So we can look at this and say, well, we won't have the dogs and the bikes at the same time, or I'll avoid carrying tools, which I don't want to do. I've been to France umpteen times with camper van for years, and having the tools in the van has got me out of the shit many, many times. So the reality is I need to kind of uprate it, and 3.9 will be plenty. And it feels, looking at the stats of our van and everything, it would make sense. It's not like we're going to like overdo it with the, you know, with the clutch or the auto gearbox or the suspension. Everything feels like it would probably be right. It's just a paper exercise and we need to do it. Now, there have been a few modifications that we've changed on the van. We've got the Suma Supo springs, which are the twisting springs at the front, and we've got the bottoming out Sumo springs on the rear, which just sits in between the leaf to stop that kind of knocking. So that's it. I went through that process, and that's where I'm at. Looking at that, what would I do differently? That's for another video, and I think I want to do more on the build of the vehicle because we're really happy with our van build. I just think with looking at this and looking at some of the things that John did with his materials, I think we could have done it lighter. You know, overhead lockers would be Vandermoon all the way. I would go gasless, so I would do induction hob, auto-turn diesel heater, and for my hot water, I'd either go with like Bobble or probably a Truma 14-litre heater and storage. Again, for another video, but just thought I'd very quickly give some context to why I'm actually applying for the motorhome change. The key things that you need to do is fill in your logbook, and the only thing you need to do is you send off the full thing, and where it's the blue section 1, you just then need to fill in the word motor caravan where it says wheel plan body type. That's pretty much it. There's nothing else to fill in. And if anyone spots anything on this, it'll be too late because the application's gone off, but leave a comment anyway. The second thing I need to do is fill out a V1006, and that's like a motor caravan conversion checklist. And with this, it runs through everything that you should include. And what I've also done is on the Man TG Crafter site, I should remember his name, was it Simon or someone left a template which I've kind of used and changed. And I think this combination is something that will be really good to talk through. It's pretty straightforward. You've got your name, address, application date, who it's going to, DVLA, and then it goes on to go through and say, I've been through the checklist. I've also sent this letter via first class signed for, as we're hoping to get it done before we go away on holiday. I give them a registration plate. I'm asking for it to be reclassed as a motor caravan, and that I've completed the change to a motor caravan myself to a high standard, and that I'm aware of your requirements for the change to a motor caravan. So what I've got is then photo 1, which is the front of the motorhome with the clear reg plate. Photo 2, rear of the motorhome with a clear reg plate. Then photos 3 and 4 are photos of the caravan at the side, and what that's showing is the windows. Now this is really interesting. What it says is 2 or more windows on at least one side of the main body. The way I read that is that you need 2 or more windows, not including your driver and passenger window on the actual base van, but the additional windows, you need 2 or more at least on the side. That's the way I read it. So if you've got one side, one the other, you're golden. However, a lot of people interpret it, and I've had good feedback on the board that this is the case, that you need 2 windows on one side. Now, I'd love to speak to the DVLA to find out what that is, but there's a point there, and it comes up time and time again in the forums. But what I've done is I've shown a photo, and I've clearly drawn on window 1, window 2. So it's like 2 windows, and put a line to them so they can't be looking at, especially as my van's quite dark. It's like grey and black and everything. So I've done that. What I've also done is photo 4B then shows a separate door. Oh, and before I get on to that, an important point is my windows are quite dark, so I have included pictures of being able to see out of the window. So it's just like me showing off my holiday shots. I mean, there's a lovely shot of, is it beans and egg on toast? Could eat that right now, actually. So you've got that kind of, I just thought, it's like, because in it says, make sure there's loads of natural light. So I thought, right, well, I'm going to put shots so they can't come back and say, oh, you can't see through the window. So again, that was something else that I did. Again, I've got windows at the back, but it doesn't count. It says minimum of 2 windows. The actual words are 2 or more windows on at least one side of the main body. On at least one side of the main body. So is that the side, as in, as long as there's 2 on the side, as in both sides? I don't know. I'm confusing myself. The next one was a separate door. Easy, just show your door. Yeah, and all I'm doing at each stage of this is in brackets referring to what they want. So photo 1, the front of the motor caravan is showing the registration plate. Photo 2, the rear of the motor caravan, again showing the registration plate. Photos 3 and 4, 2 or more windows at least one side of the main body, does not include windows or driver passenger doors. And I've put, we have 4 windows in addition to the driver and passenger window. We have 2 in the rear, 1 on either side, so we have at least 2 on the sides as requested. Photo 4B, a separate door which provides access to the living accommodation of the vehicle, excludes the driver and the passengers. And then I've put, we have a sliding door on the passenger side. 4B, a separate door, where have we gone? Sorry, no, photos 4C and 4D, 4E and 4F, showing rear windows are tinted for security, but they provide lots of bright light and clear views. So then 5 and 6 goes on to, it says, motor caravan style graphics on both sides. The forums are awash with this. What count as motor caravan graphics? Like what is it? Is it a logo? Is it something small, something big? Is there a percentage of it? What are the colours? Is contrast a thing? Where should it be applied on the van? Like just totally up to either misinterpretation or interpretation. So what I've done is, further on in the letter, I've referred to a commercially built vehicle, or coach-built vehicle, the same as mine, so MAN TG or Crafter, the same one. It's actually a MAN on the main shot, actually, on the website. And then what I've done is I've put, we have added map-style topography, should say, graphics to both sides of our van, including our van building name, the Ahoy logo. We've replicated the way professional motor caravan coach builders Westphalia build using our model van. The same model van, adding graphics to their vehicles and applying the graphic to our logo in the exact same area that they do. See print reference A and B. So what I've done is I've kind of detailed where their logo appears and also where the graphic appears on the van. And I've also referenced they have a high top roof, the same model as mine. Again, just to belt and braces to make sure everything's covered. And then for the graphics, as I say, I've just done a sort of more close-up shot showing this kind of like topography pattern on the side. So that's that. Photo 7, awning bar attached to either side. So either means or. I've looked up the definition and just to double belt and braces it. It says an awning bar. It doesn't say an awning, it says an awning bar. So really, on our vehicle, the awning bar could be we've got roof bars on ours, which you can slide an awning straight onto. You have a T slot, which you slide it into. But I didn't think that was good enough. So on the driver's side, I've added a Vamoose awning rail. So that should then count as an awning bar if they knock me back on the other. So there is a awning bar on our van, not an actual awning. So awning bar, awning rail, interchangeable. I've looked up the definition on them. So again, fingers crossed, I should be okay. All the way through this, I am also pointing out things that make it look like a motor caravan. Although they've not asked for that, I'm putting it on. So things like boiler vent there, roof light with max air fan, skylight, sorry. I'm mentioning all that. So yeah, photo 7, it shows that it's a high top, full height van and that it's got an awning rail. And then yeah, I put a little bit of a detail in there around roof rails, what it accepts, the meaning of it, that kind of thing. And then photo 8, interior details showing seats, table in an upright position. And then I put the table brackets permanently and securely fixed to the motor caravan. So just dead easy, my table with a table fixture here, which is removable, which is allowed, but it must be fixed in place to the vehicle. So if you just had legs, that wouldn't count. It's got to be able to be fixed to the vehicle. So that's that. And obviously the seat, even though it's a sofa, it's got framework and it's securely to the floor. Interestingly, I've not shown that, but maybe I should have done. Photo 9 and photo 9A, a permanently fixed double bed. We have a full-size double mattress with beams and timber slats that are fixed permanently to the motor caravan. So all I've done is shown a picture of the bed and also underneath the bed, just kind of like showing the structure, the beams, the slats and everything, and just showing that it's all fixed in. So that should be a tick. Photo 10, 2-burner hob cooking facilities, and I've just detailed we have a Thetford 2-burner gas hob and a CAN oven. So again, dead simple, just shows the hob and the oven, really easy. The next one, photos 11, 12 and 13, overhead and under seat storage cupboards permanently installed. We have one overhead locker above the sofa, one above the cab, blah, blah, blah. It just basically details everything. So again, all I'm doing is I'm just doing where it details where the storage is with lines drawn to it. I just thought the more the better. So you've got like under the sofa and everything there. The next one, I'll cover this up a little bit for security reasons, but just basically detailing my VIN number. And I did that one and also the one on the side of the vehicle as well. So there's one for MAN TG crafter owners, there's one on the passenger inside door, and then you've got one, as you look into your engine bay, it's on the far left wing. So that's that. It should be straightforward, but I'm a bit nervous if I'm honest. So luckily, I've just checked with Sean at SV Tech, who are going to be doing my uprating of the van, and I've checked a couple of things. It's Sean who got back to me, actually, Katie. Don't interrupt me when I'm doing a YouTube video. Unless you want to be in it. Come on, Kate. Come on. You need to start doing some of these. I've not got time to be doing these all the time. So there's a few other things that I've detailed. As I say, the last sort of note is print A and B, which are these ones, which are sort of showing examples of commercially built motorhomes. It just sort of says, the website and details of the commercially built MAN TGE with map-based graphics, the same as we have applied. Instead of a compass, we have chosen a topography map, so those like contour maps, as shown in the photo. So very much trying to say, look, this is how the coach-built professional motor caravan home builders are doing it. We're following suit. So that's it. And then it just kind of says, there's a little note there. It says we've got water stored permanently fixed on board 80-litre water tank. Again, that's not needed, but it's just something I mentioned. I've put what I've enclosed, and that's pretty much it. Is there a benefit to it? Now, I had a conversation with Howden, who do our insurance on that on our main vehicle, and I said, "What's the score with vehicle weight?" So they say a fixed penalty is the preferred option for dealing with excess weight offences unless the offence is too serious. The maximum number of penalty notices would be exceeded. The table below shows the current graduated penalty levels for excess weight matters. So less than 10%, you are not getting anything that's endorsable, and it's a fixed £100 penalty amount. 10%, up to 14%, I presume, is £200, and then 15% and over is then £300. A £100 penalty will be given for a 0 to 99.99. A 0 to 9.99% overload, but DVSA examiners will allow a 5% leeway before issuing a fixed penalty or prohibition, unless the relevant weight has been exceeded by 1 tonne or more. Normally, a fixed penalty would be appropriate for serious cases of overloading, for example, when a vehicle is overloaded by 30% and over, or the excess weight is 5 tonnes, so a court summons would be issued. If the excess weight and the way the load is carried is having a significant effect on the road safety, for example, serious instability or loss of control, these other offences will mean a court summons with the excess weight being part of the offence. So you can go up to 5% over, and there's a bit of leeway. You can, which it sort of says here, and you can then basically expect a fixed penalty depending on what you're going up to, all the way up to 30%. But there's this caveat around the 5 tonne. If you're 30% over, which is like getting into 5 tonne there, that's when you can get a court summons, which is fine. You kind of know where you stand there in terms of if you get tugged, what happens. But if there was an accident or the insurance find out about it and you are literally 1 kilogram over, like, where does that sit? And I couldn't get a firm answer, and I couldn't see anything in my insurance documents. Now, you would think there'd be a discrepancy, but you know, if there's been an accident, I think generally the insurance companies are always looking to avoid paying out. So you really want to be sort of belt and braces. So even though there is a sort of, you know, people sort of say you can get let off with like 5% over, you know, and you have this sliding scale, that's if you get tugged and they weigh you. But if you've got an accident, then it could be risk of dangerous driving and all the rest of it. So it's like, you know, it's quite serious, and so you need to kind of make sure that you're fully legal. As say, what we've been doing for the minute is just driving on, you know, I'm not filling the fuel up, so I'm like half a tank of fuel, so I'm saving 30 kilograms. We're driving around with no water in the van, so I'm saving 90 kilograms. We've not filled the gas up, so I'm saving weight there. I've removed the 2 toolboxes, which included an additional heavier weight pump jack and a load of other things. There's the spare wheel. So we've just basically removed everything. You know, we went out for a bike ride the other day. We threw the bikes in. We didn't take the dogs. So there's things you can do, but it's not as a practical a van to use. And as I say, going back to it, it's frustrating because the van's geared up for it, but it's just the classification around it. Luckily, if it's only as a van, I'm not that bothered about getting it as a motor caravan. It shouldn't make much difference to the insurance. It might make some difference to the resale value. Maybe it's a little bit of a perk. There are things you need to consider. So you got things like MOT. With an MOT, if it's van with windows, when it's presented to the MOT centre, they will do the MOT based on how it's presented. So if it's presented and looks like a motorhome, smells like a motorhome, it's a motorhome, they'll MOT it as a motorhome. If it looks more like a commercial vehicle, they would MOT it as a commercial vehicle. But from what I've been told, if it is assigned van with windows, then it's a van with windows, you're using it for private use, it's not like you're driving it for commercial uses and all the rest of it, then you're not having to have a tachograph, a speed limiter to 52, 56 or whatever it is. I don't want any of that. And then there's little subtle differences in like 10-mile discrepancies on certain types of parts of the roads and things like that, which I'm not too bothered about. I just want to make sure I'm legal, and ultimately, before I go through the uprating of the weight, so I've got a bit more room to play with, I'm going to first apply for this, and I will let you know how I get on.